So, in my current role, I spend a lot of time working across travel brands from hotels to OTAs to wider platforms to help them acquire, retain, engage travelers across their life cycle with our AI powered platform. So, we are like that silent thread across this group when I'm seeing, which operates across various, vectors from a travel marketing perspective. Now, just coming to your question, I think. We are seeing a fundamental shift in terms of the whole traveler space right now. I think one of the biggest things we are seeing is that from a traveler perspective, there's a big disruption happening across their journey. I think the biggest disruption I'm seeing right now is on the discovery side. It is getting more and more fragmented. Imagine a traveler today spends so much time from across social feeds, creator content, AI-led discovery. If I were to go to, let's say, a Bali today, in the past I would just search maybe the best luxury resorts in Bali, right? But today, that has completely changed. I would possibly go to, let's say, a chat GPT and think about and have a more conversation-led discussion there where, I would like to go to Bali with, and, I would like to look for a resort which can accommodate 3 generations of travelers, right? In that sense. So there's a big shift happening from that lens, from a traveler perspective. And I feel like one of the things which is at the center of what is happening is AI is disrupting the entire traveler journey. Think about it. If you combine ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, etc., there are more than 1 billion monthly active users who are doing this. And one of our research at RateGain says that more than 70% of the travelers are now influenced by social and conversational part of their journey. So essentially what is happening is that the whole search and the exploration is exploding, but the booking time itself is shrinking. So that is one of the biggest shifts which we are seeing. Maybe I'll pass this.
Mr. Neil?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I think we're a little past the post-lunch session, so hopefully we can keep you engaged. My name is Neil, and I represent Skyscanner today. Firstly, I feel very lucky to be in the panel with my fellow speakers here. I think to answer this very succinctly, the one fundamental shift we're just seeing is the rise of international travel. That has exploded in the last few years, especially since COVID. For context, in Skyscanner, 3 years back, probably 80% of our clicks went to domestic and 20% international. Today it's 54 and 46, right? So, and you see that, you see a much more confident, global, purposeful Indian traveler who wants to go out there and explore the world. Every minute, we have around 80 searches from India to UAE on our platform. And that will just give you a sense of the magnitude of that. So that's one fundamental shift we've noticed in our traveler behavior.
Mr. Neeraj?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I think two things. One, I agree with Neil. People have more knowledge and access to information. That's why people are comparing India versus what is nearby India. Price, value, connectivity, and more we are seeing we are losing out to international destinations like Sri Lanka, Mauritius, Thailand, Singapore, and so on. Second part is, I think, what has AI done? I see, most of the topics in this forum related to AI. What AI has solved is the discovery problem. So the search and discovery has been made much more smarter by AI, but the biggest problem and the opportunity area remains the same. People who control the supply, people who control the product, people who control the pricing, they are the ultimate beneficiaries. People will build beautiful trips through ChatGPT and Gemini of the world, but ultimately ChatGPT is not going to own the customer experience. Customer experience need to be owned by the people who are doing on-ground fulfillment. And I know that most of the people in this audience, we hear every day AI is going to eat the jobs. And in fact, I was talking to one of my colleagues today. Most of the people who attend OTM, 95% of them, they are fulfillment partners. And because they are fulfillment partners, as long as you are great in providing excellent service and own the customer last mile delivery, I think your job has been made much easier by AI actually. So I think it's a great time to be. And what a travel counselor or a travel expert was supposed to know earlier, the AI knows it, probably knows better than it. But I think the most important part is the pricing and who owns the customer. So I think till today, Google doesn't own the customer.
Yeah.
You book a flight on Google, for any issues, Google doesn't own the customer. You will still have to go to, the OTA or the airline where you are booking. So that's what my view is. Please keep pressing hard on the fulfillment part and take control of the pricing, take control of the customer experience, and I think exciting time ahead. Thank you.
What about you, sir?
Hi everyone, I'm Nikhil, I'm from Indigo. While I think great panel, I agree with Neil and everyone about the internationalization. Indigo is sort of really pushing hard on the internationalization front. But one more aspect which we are seeing is how there is increasing first-time flyers which are getting into the ecosystem. And I believe that's where the real game of AI is, because that's the consumer which needs the most hand-holding, rather than the consumer which is very frequently traveling, because for them it's very easy, right? And every year we see a lot of Indian consumer getting into the ecosystem. We now fly to 97 points in India. We flew over 100 million passengers last year. A lot of them are new passengers who have never flown in the past, right? So there is a lot of influx of new passengers. How do you solve for their booking experience, their travel experience, their anxiety at the airport? A lot of our sort of customer behavior says one of the reasons people don't prefer to fly is because there is a lot of anxiety at airport, right? Compared to a train experience. So easy, right? Go to a platform, stand in front of the train, enter. The travel TC will come 1 hour, 2 hours later, show him a ticket, you're sorted. Imagine that experience at an airport. You can't enter without a ticket. You have to have a barcode. Then you go in, check-in counter, security. Imagine the anxiety, right? So if you're able to solve that through AI, I think that's something which will be very interesting. And I think that will really leap forward how we look at travel and aviation. And agree with Sir completely. I think humans will always remain in the loop because fulfillment can't happen through AI. So humans will remain very critical part of the entire loop. So from my side.
Mr. Ravi.
Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Ravi Shankar. I'm from Eurasia Move. I'm not sure if anyone of you know about Eurasia Move here. It's the first ever OTA that is born out of an airline. We kind of took the website and app of an airline and trying to be the OTA. We are primarily based in ASEAN, right? But we have partnerships with the airlines across the world, right? So that's briefly the introduction. So to come back to the question of what's the fundamental shift we are seeing is two things actually. One is the segment of people, like Nikhil was saying, the younger first-time flyers are increasing, right? And the age segment is below 16, below 17, right? That segment is growing quite a bit. And the other segment that's actually growing quite a bit is above 60. And there are a lot of first-time flyers above 60 and above 70 kind of entering into the ecosystem. And there is a lot of anxiety, right? How many of you outsource your travel planning to somebody else and you're happy if somebody's doing all that planning, right? So it is a lot of work, not just the travel itself, but the planning itself, right? So if AI can solve that, sure, that's great. The second place where we're seeing a bit of a difference is the intent to travel amongst Gen Zs, where I was looking at the Google Trends of certain keywords and stuff. the keyword stress has been skyrocketing across multiple years. Why am I always tired is kind of skyrocketing always, right? So people are generally tired and stressed, and they see the travel as a getaway, right? It's not, for a certain segment of people, it's not just a holiday, it's something that save up to, they look forward to, something that they want to escape from the daily routine. So the intent is different. They want to experience travel, right? So when they're planning the travel to get away from the daily grind, and you're putting them a stressful planning and a stressful flying in front of them, it's not a really good experience, right? So hopefully AI can solve that. But that's the few trends that we're seeing: the intent to travel and the age segments.
Great. So, my name is Sandeep. I represent DreamFolks. We are at a very interesting, how do I say, cross-section point between, banks on one side, who are actually spending quite a lot of money to attract, all of us in terms of, buying their more and more credit card. So someone is here actually wanting to spend quite a lot of money, and that money actually is taken by all of you. I mean, and I think we provide a platform. So we are at a very great cross section in terms of providing the experience to the consumer, and someone is willing to pay that, why not? So we were the first to democratize the lounge access in India, and now we have moved from a travel company to a travel and a lifestyle company, and I think I will explain you as to why we did that. Answering to your question, I think I'll just give you an example, and all of us would probably endorse or I think relate to it. That I have my wife and maybe two kids, or I have only one daughter. Imagine today traveling together is going to be, I think maybe 2 or 3 times in a year. That is the occasion. You really want to make it very cherishable, memorable, because I think you're not going to get that time later on. I think once in a year, twice in a year is what the average family who has the disposable income is doing that. So it has to be really memorable one, and that is something that I am clearly seeing the shift. From people booking a ticket and a hotel, I think the biggest change that I am seeing is that people are really hooking on to the experience. They are wanting to actually buy experience right from, I love the statements I think few of the fellow panelists made that, yes, absolutely. Air travel is absolutely full of anxiousness. I mean, right from the start till the immigration, I don't know, I'm carrying all the documents. Someone is going to fleece me. Someone is going to tell me that, oh, you are carrying 2 kg extra. I'll have to pay. A lot of anxiety. There is no doubt about it. I think, and hence AI is going to play a very, very important role. And that's where we also realized that we moved from a travel company to a travel and a lifestyle company. And that's where I think, a lot of people here sitting are into travel agents and travel fraternity. I think we have spoken enough, and I think that gives an opportunity of really making a lot of money here, as opposed to really charging money on the tickets, or for that matter the margins on the hotels. So that's where we come into picture, and that's where we have been actually aggregating quite a lot of services which allows all these people to really make higher margins. So the fundamental shift that I'm seeing is absolutely that people are buying experience, or people are actually not buying tickets and hotel tickets and air tickets. That's
it's all
I'm
about
seeing.
experiential travel at
Absolutely.
this point of time.
Yeah.
So most of you, if not all of you, spoke of AI in each of your answers. My question is, when it comes to travel marketing, how do you think is AI, creating an impact in that? How much is it integrated in travel marketing at this point of time? We'll start with you, Mr. Anurag.
Yeah, thank you for this. I think definitely AI is the buzzword right now. But this is a question very close to my heart, because I think AI is definitely disrupting how travel marketing is done right now. Think about it, like with AI, we could actually look at travel intent signals and communicate with customers from a intent perspective. So I think the biggest shift which is happening right now is in travel marketing. We are moving from a campaign-led marketing to a travel moment marketing. So instead of now saying, okay, this is my travel demographic, so this is the age band, this is the income band, etc., What brands are now moving to is saying, okay, from moving to who's my traveler to saying, what is my traveler thinking of right now? Is the traveler only exploring or wanting to book? Right? What is the traveler price conscious or experience led? So brands are actually now looking at all these moments from a traveler perspective and responding to that moment. And that is increasing, increasing the efficiency of marketing. I'll give an example. At RateGain, we have the world's largest travel intent data with like more than 300 million traveler profiles. What that helps us do is that we understand what the traveler is thinking at that moment, and then our messaging is curated to that traveler versus a generic broadcasting of marketing. That is the biggest shift which is happening with right now, and AI is just like amplifying it. So that's what I'd say.
So, looking at AI, what do you think? Is it like a tool or a feature that's being added to existing travel platforms, or do you think that it's a completely new product that, a lot of new companies will be entering the travel industry ecosystem and they'll be solely creating AI products to be used by companies like that of yours? If I may ask you, Mr. Neil.
I think before I get to the AI bit, I just had a reflection when Nikhil and Ravi were talking about the first time traveler today. When I took my flight in the morning to Bombay, I started counting the number of people on the flight who were taking selfies or who were just like taking a photo just before getting into the flight. And it seems so commonplace, but then that's actually like, it gives you a very, very real human side of like how many people are doing it for their first time and what a big deal it is for them. And kudos to everyone in this room for playing a role in kind of like bringing in that happiness to people. With respect to AI, again, like we can talk about it for the next 3 days. And I generally feel that when people very confidently say this is exactly what AI will do, I think you should take it with a pinch of salt. No one really knows. But I think for us, more than a product or what was the other term you used?
Just like a tool.
Feature,
or a feature,
for a feature or a tool, I think it's more a decision layer. And what I mean by that is now travelers are not looking for searches, they're looking for answers, right? And AI is a key enabler for that. We have something called Ask Skyscanner, where it's not too dissimilar to GPT, but it kind of like where you can very simple through queries and natural language, you can kind of ask for a certain itinerary and they give it. The difference is that now 60% of the searches have actually led to bookings, right? So that intent to action through AI is a big part of like what we are seeing. I think the second part is, at least in our conversations globally with the LLMs, what we perceive is they don't want to get into like making hundreds of partnerships with like airlines and OTAs, etc. They want the best possible answers. For us, we process around 110 billion prices every single day. So the idea is how do we kind of share that very global, relevant, fresh data to make a very like bespoke solution for people looking for AI. So I think it's a decision layer. It's neither a product, a feature or a tool. I think it's going to be part of everyone's lives, and I do think it's a very exciting time for us ahead in travel.
Can I answer this?
Definitely, sir.
So I think AI in marketing, we are also early learners, and at Thomas Cook, did we master it? No, we are still learning it. We did an experimentation this year. Typically, for us, Europe is one of our biggest, the markets where we send tourists to. And this year launch was done by our AI ambassador. Because every year what used to happen, we used to, hire a celebrity, hire a cricketer, then he would do a launch. And, that shoot will take 15 days, product you're there, dates will come after 1 month, production will take some time. So what we decided, we have an AI bot called Tacy. We decided that Tacy will launch the Europe tours this year. And what it did, so we went to print, of course digital, it's a seamless, the process. We went on to print, we put a QR code Earlier, in earlier avatars, QR code means this will lead to the website. But this QR code was straight away getting into the conversation with TC. And TC was answering what questions you have, you want assistance, do you want to connect, or so on. So I think the content, the speed of content is much faster, and we are able to churn out more and more videos, more and more stories, more and more programs, faster, better quality. However, there is a caveat. Imagine if everybody starts producing AI-led videos. You know, what happens to the authenticity? So my sense is there would be a time, every video you produce, you go to the market, you may have to write it's AI-generated video. Because the traveler will start appreciating what is genuine versus what is AI-led. There would be a time. So the request to my own colleagues and to the people in the audience, what is authentic will remain forever authentic. AI can put that onto the steroid, but I think authenticity will be the final winner.
It's definitely a very thin line
Yeah.
that we have to be walking on right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because what you say, what you show, should be controllable.
Yes,
It should be in
definitely.
your control.
Definitely. Mr. Nikhil, shifting focus to brands and connection to the customers, what is the most exciting shift that you're seeing in how travel brands are connecting with the consumers today?
Sorry.
No, please go ahead.
This to me or to him?
If you want to ask, please.
You can start, sir. It's fine.
Your name is Nikhil, right? इसमें confusion हो जाता है. I am Neeraj. So I think, so at Thomas Cook, we are an omni-channel company. And we've been in India from 168 years. We have seen many booms, .com bust. Now the AI is here. We've seen, I think, 2 world wars in India and 2 COVIDs. One was 1915 and recent ones. So I think we want to talk to the language the customer wants. We want to reach to the customer the way customer wants. And I think that has been the reason that why we have existed for so long and we remain profitable and we are growing. So that is my mantra. There is no one, fits all. If the more and more vernacular people want to have content, more and more voice searches are happening. That's what the customer wants. And, customer wants best of both the worlds, honestly. He wants the best value, he wants the best price, he wants the best service. So as long as we are able to create a balance, I think we will be home.
For sure. Mr. Nikhil.
No, thank you so much. I think couple of things. One, just on the previous point, right, on marketing and AI, right? I just believe what it does personalization at scale, which in a way is oxymoron because personalization should not be at scale, right? It should be personalized. But what AI actually does, it does personalization at scale, right? And I think that's where also what's happening in how brands are connecting with consumers at this point of time is 2 things, right? One is they're trying to ensure that there is higher degree of personalization which happens. How do you make sure that the content served to someone is relevant? But the other thing which is interestingly happening is, for example, in this world of hyper personalization, sometimes it becomes too personalized and too relevant and might not be the right way. So brands like at least Indigo, what we are doing is we are focusing on building communities, like-minded communities where we believe customers bring advocacy to our brands, right? And to give you an example, right, we have a very, very strong focus internally on girl power. So that's one piece of community that we really, really want to do. And we want to focus on girl power as a big, big thing. And so how do we do it as a brand, right? So we have a feature on our website. So any female traveler who is web checking in, she would know if there is where are the other females sitting.
That's happened,
so
yes.
that if she wants to sit next to a female, she can choose to do that, right? So it's about, we have a ethos of girl power. How do we really bring it alive, right? Similarly, other example is we believe travel and photography goes hand in hand, right? So we have a thing called No Filter by Indigo, right? It's how do we bring these communities on our platform to create more authenticity, but also an advocacy for the brand at the end of the day, because otherwise, what will happen with personalization at scale is, after a while, every brand starts looking the same. That's sort of a problem with AI, right? Because currently, none of the AI models actually have your own brand tonality, your own brand knowledge. None of that. For example, we'll be a 20-year-old brand, right? Very soon, and we talk in a certain sense, we look in a certain sense. None of the models know any of that, right? So unless we build our own model or we really, really educate a model with that, it will give out a very generic response based on what are the prompts everyone gives. So that's why while we do that, it's important to build some degree of community building and really showcase that through our products and in life. So that's how we are at least at Indigo trying to do that.
What about you, Mr. Ravi? How is AirAsia Move deciding, what are the strategies to attract Indian customers specifically?
So basically, we are a small player in India market, right? So, but again, going back to how we think about connecting with customers is again communities. How we look at communities is we want to just connect people and let them engage with each other, right? We have a community within our app where there are about, groups about a lot of things, right? How to save money, how to kind of Bangkok hacks and all that stuff, right? So, and we also created something called a flight community where if a few people who booked on a flight auto add into a community, you can talk to each other anonymously. And then, there are a lot of new people who met on the same flight as well. So the insight of why we did that is the recommendation from a human is powerful than a recommendation from an algorithm, even though it's a bad recommendation. Basically, the easiest example would be any OTT or Netflix or Jio Hotstar that you have. The first one that you see is what the algorithm thinks that you will like. But you might not watch it, but your friend might say, hey, you'll like it. I watched this and you will like it. You'll definitely go and watch it. That's how the recommendation is different between an algorithm and a human. And we want to build those communities, a community at scale. We have about a couple of million active users monthly. We're planning to scale it across, and having multiple languages in ASEAN region, maintaining that and moderating that is where the new generative AI is kind of helping out right now. But that's kind of how we are looking at it right now, right? So if we can expand that to India market, I'm pretty sure that product is not as difficult to build, but us having a head start and learnings maybe help us.
We definitely do rely on word of mouth a little more. We're able to trust that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Mr. Sandeep, coming to you, what do you think makes a traveler come back to the brands more? How can one ensure that?
I think it's the consistency that you deliver whatever you're supposed to deliver. I think, I don't see actually consumers being loyal to brand today as much as they are to the experience. I think people forget, throughout my experience, I would have probably, there are maybe, 7 brands who have participated. In really delivering that experience that I actually, got. I would remember after a year or whatever is basically the experience. So it's a combination of all the brands who have delivered, beyond what they could, and that is how I remember experience. And that is how we are taking. I think unless and until, so I'll tell you, if you were to go back, today, in the recent past, we are using this word AI too much. But if I were to go 2 years back, there were some platforms which were offering, one service, which is, a meet and assist, you can go to a lounge, you can go to a spa, you can go, all of that. Imagine what is happening is, if you were to look at the other end, the travel agent is actually personalizing the entire journey and making it more cherishable. See, it is up to the travel agent to know as to, okay, it's a family of four, it's a young family, someone likes coffee, someone likes to see, whatever. So I think, the guy is doing quite a lot of personalization, and I think to my mind, AI will never be able to do that. AI can actually remove the friction points, but I think, AI, so the role of travel agent would remain because of the kind of personalization and the kind of understanding of the consumer and will have. So to answer your question, I think if you are going to actually build a certain platform which is going to give that experience consistently above your expectation, I think consumers are going to remember more that rather than an individual brand. I think that's what going to drive the loyalty. I think the simplicity, no frictions. Every time I use it is very easy. I don't have to look at 10 times my phone number, my passwords, some email IDs where I need to put a lot of things. I just put my number and that's it. All the services are available at a go, and I have realized that all the services that I bought on that platform were really good. I think if you just deliver this consistently 2-3 times, imagine, I again go back to what I said. I think a family is traveling twice a year. You have to make it really, really memorable. If you just give 2 times a similar kind of an experience, I think as a family also, I really go up to, I have a one travel agent. And I just book, I think since past 6-7 years, I've been only going to that because he has understood all our, likes and dislikes so much. So it's the consistency that I am actually going to, as opposed to, what are the brands who have actually made those, experiences. So that's what I feel. I think that would drive the
That was actually my
loyalty.
follow-up questions, that are customers
Sorry,
more loyal
wasn't
to brands or to the particular experiences that they're wanting from their travels, which you answered really beautifully. Coming to the next question, how are travel brands redefining personalization to make interactions better? If you could answer that, Mr. Anurag.
Yeah, so I think a lot of it has been said from an AI perspective. It would be interesting if we had an AI note taker which just said how many times we spoke of AI. But anyways, coming back to this, right? I think I think some of the panelists were talking about personalization,
Yes.
and I think AI is like a force multiplier here. Now think about it. Like if there's a family who's traveling to a beach resort versus a solo traveler who's traveling to the same beach resort, both want different things out of their trip, right? One is looking for maybe convenience, other is looking for an experience. And that is where personalization comes into play, where you move from who's the traveler to understanding deeply about the traveler, about their habits. I'll give you an example of how, I'm experiencing this as I travel. So I'm a Jain, I prefer Jain food. I go to the same hotel in Dubai every month, and they still keep asking me the same question, right? I prefer a certain blend of coffee. I prefer a certain type of pillow cover, right? And the same things keep getting asked again and again and again. And that is a big place where travel brands can come in and create personalized experiences for travelers where they feel that the brand understands me. That is where it will move into deeper trust with the brand, right? A true personalization is where you don't feel like it's being personalized, you just feel in the moment. So I think that is a big play from an AI perspective. Like one of the things we have is a guest experience platform where we kind of work with hoteliers to help them understand the traveler profile, understand their preferences, understand what they are looking for, understand when they are traveling, who are they traveling with, and how should that experience look like. And then we connect the dots. And that is where there's a big leverage with AI, where you can look at all this huge amount of data and then look at what are the right dots to connect and then personalize it for the traveler. And that is where I'm seeing a big needle shift happen right now.
Mr. Neil, I'll ask you sort of a follow-up question. We are talking about personalization. So currently with AI throughout, spread throughout the travel ecosystem, do you think this personalization is possible, making it better is possible without using AI? Is that possible at this point of time, without using any particular AI tool? still making personalization better through some other strategy?
Life existed before AI.
Yeah, I think
That's
that's what I was going to say.
Answer that?
Yeah, I think Thomas Cook has been doing it for 168 years in India, so life did work out. So to your question, I think the answer is that you can personalize more without AI, but AI can also be a big force multiplier in your personalization journey.
Absolutely. Sir, if you have any input on this, I mean, Thomas Cook, as everyone's saying, it's been doing this way before AI. So now with AI in the picture, how is the company strategizing personalization?
So I think because I am responsible for Indian market, and we are responsible for taking care of Indian traveling to the world, and personalization. One of the examples is offering our customers, the hotels, where the washrooms have jet spray. It's a huge, big thing. A lot of Indians, if you give a choice, most of the Indians would opt for rooms where the washrooms have jet sprays. Food.
Yeah.
Food is a big, this thing, Anurag said, I'm a Jain. So, we take Indian chefs to everywhere. People I have a small anecdote, for example, Maruti is a Japanese company, of course, with the MDs and all. And they were traveling to Japan. And their condition to traveling to Japan was, we don't want Indian food. We would want 10 days trip, all food has to be Japanese. And after 2 days, we get a call, cancel all Japanese, we want Indian food. So I think that is also a personalization scale, what kind of food habits people are Jain. There are, trips where the food has to be delivered before the sunset because the group is Jain. So these are the personalization, we take care, and we've been doing it successfully.
I mean, you will
need
humans
an element
can
of human.
never be replaced, of course.
So I'm actually thinking while you were speaking how I'm going to convince my UK product team what a jet spray is and how to put it as a filter on our platform. But I think that's my next big goal right now.
I see that
And
times.
in India, the other point I wanted to add, see, in India, the human arbitrage is huge. We are a 1.4 billion population, right? The cost of an agentic AI is 2 times expensive than a human cost in India. So unless the cost of a agentic AI comes down half of the human, it's difficult to succeed in Indian, in Indian perspective.
Absolutely. I see that time's up. We can take just one question from the audience. All right.
Thank you. My name is Darshil. I'm the founder of a company called Fleepo. We are building a travel tech platform for the modern day travel agent to do group trips. Now, my question is to you, Neil. By the way, Skyscanner is a lifesaver, so thank you for that.
Thank you for that.
So now what I've seen happening over the last couple of months, I think on Skyscanner is, after I'm searching for something or after I booked, I'm recommended, say, a cab service or a hotel service. So there's a level of personalization which is being used for cross-selling. I just wanted to know how that is panning out and what are the steps in which you'd probably be using more of AI in terms of cross-selling, or do you think cross-selling is just a vertical but there are better ways to, integrate into the product itself?
I think firstly, we are a marketplace. So there's no transaction, as you would know, which happens on Skyscanner. We take that traffic to our partners. But the wider, I think Skyscanner started in 2003 as a spreadsheet, right? Like the founder wanted to find places to go skiing, and he realized he had to go to 20 different tabs. So he's just like, okay, let me put it all together. Till then, from then till even today, like Skyscanner has the largest flights audience. India is now Skyscanner's most visited market. The traveler is kind of like front and center of every decision which is taken. So to a certain extent, that doesn't start and end with flights. So our mission statement really is like, how do we be the world's #1 travel ally? So it's how do we kind of like help the traveler through every part of their journey and understand like what really would make a most meaningful experience to them. So you've talked about cabs, you talked about hotels. We also, like in other markets, we've launched packages, which is kind of like how do you put all of this together. And so I think that's going to be a constant endeavor for us as an organization, is how do we meet the travelers to where they need us to be rather than where we want them to be.
Thanks. And you're using AI there in terms of the personalization.
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone is using AI at some point.
All right. Okay, just one more question.
Thank you so much. My name is Kaushal Dhamecha. I am a founder of a company called Yogi Overseas. I have a specific question to Neeraj sir. Actually, this concept that we launched before 1.5 years, especially for senior citizens. Dubai travel, especially for senior citizens. And most of you today spoke about the personal experiences and the in-depth research as to what they want and trying to meet that and give them best experience. When I was hearing you, sir, you are right. Most of our passengers, the senior citizens who are about 65, most of the time they take the selfies and that type of a thing. So it is our passion that we do it, and we do it in a way that most of the senior citizens, every time at the end of the completion of the tour, they give a lot of blessings, and that's our profit. But end of the day, only with the blessings you cannot grow. But as a Thomas Cook, you have been growing for so many years. So I want a few words from you which can motivate us and our team to continue the same level of service, using how to use AI to make our management in a better way, such that today we are doing it in Dubai, tomorrow we can even launch more and more countries and give them similar experiences. So that question I want to ask you, what technology, how to use the technology to make our life easier? Because what I experienced, the more we are trying to grow, the more it is getting a headache. So please.
I just have one answer. I understood your question. I will take the answer maybe
If we can
outside
take
this
it,
stage. But I can tell you,
offline.
AI using learning implementation is like going to gym every day. Don't be fascinated by looking at people who are saying that, oh, we mastered the AI. Or don't look at fascinating at, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's got a great body. The guy has been going to the gym from last 25 years. So please have patience. There is no magical formula, there is no medicine. कोई दवाई नहीं है कि AI का इंजेक्शन लगा दो कल से AI चालू हो जाएगा.
I think we can wrap this session on this note. Thank you so much, panelists. We can just have a quick photo.